Welcome back to another discussion, guys. In today's talk, I'm going to be going deep on your relationship to failure and why it's so important. So, when I was younger, I used to have a very negative relationship towards failure. I used to see failure as something that I wanted to avoid at all costs, right? No matter what, I was like, I do not want to fail. I cannot fail. I just really tried to avoid that. And I think that view is where most people are at, and that's genuinely their relationship to failure. They try to avoid it at all costs. But the thing is, your relationship to failure shouldn't actually be from a place of avoidance, right? You shouldn't actually be trying to avoid failure. I know on a surface level it makes sense, like, well, Ricky, don't we want success? And in order to have success, don't you have to avoid failure? Not really, okay? Now, what I thought when I was younger, absolutely. I literally thought avoid failure, attain success. That's the metric, right? That's the literal strategy to it. But the reality is, it's quite the opposite. In truth, the strategy of success, right, as cliche as that may sound, is using failures as a way to form like a bit of a feedback loop. And also making micro adjustments every time. So every time you quote unquote fail, you are making little micro adjustments. You're realizing, okay, I missed the mark here a little bit, and that's because I didn't do this thing right, or because I didn't have the right, method, or whatever it may be. Every time that you experience a missing of the mark, or if you want to define it as a failure, you learn from it and you get better. And every single time that you quote unquote fail, you're making these little micro adjustments, and through the micro adjustments over a long enough period of time, you will eventually get to the point of success. In comparison to the individual who's trying to avoid failures, they never learn what they need to learn because they never actually experience the setback because they're scared of it. Okay, the truth is, most people are fucking petrified of failure. When they think of failure, they think they're going to be judged by others, mocked. They think, that they're going to be like just laughed at or whatever. Like, there's like that element of social judgment and status element to it. But they just avoid taking any action altogether. The person who tries to avoid failure also, as a natural byproduct of that, avoids success. You need to form a relationship towards failure where you actually seek out failure. There's a really good quote that I love, and it says, fail early, fail often, fail forward. The quicker you can start failing, the quicker you're going to actually reach that, pinnacle of success, whatever that means to you. Whatever success means to you personally, it will more than likely require you to fail relentlessly to get there. Because to attain that level of success and to get that very specific outcome, you need to act in a certain way, or you need to do certain things, or you need to hold yourself to a high certain standard. But in order to actually do those things, you need to work out what doesn't work to then figure out what does work, okay? So if you get anything from this video, I want you to start seeing failures not as something that's bad, as something that should be avoided, or even as something that you allow to evoke fear within you, but start seeing failures as something that you should actually seek out. Because the quicker you fail, the quicker you'll make those micro adjustments, and the quicker you actually reach success. There is a great chapter in the book called Psycho-Cybernetics. I'm not sure of the author, but it's a very popular book, so you guys can probably find that pretty easy if you're interested in reading it. But it talks all about how, like, as humans, we learn through these micro failures, and then we make the micro adjustments, and it leads to the success that we're actually after. But so many people are petrified of failure. They're like, I don't want to fail. I don't want to be seen as, it's all a fucking psyop, like, genuinely. You need to be okay, not only just okay with failure, but you need to seek it out. Okay, don't allow it to put fear into your heart. Don't allow yourself to freeze up and not do anything because there is a potentiality of failure. Yes, I'll be straight up with you. Yes, there is a potentiality of failure. And to be quite honest, you're more than likely going to fail. But that is a good thing. Because when you fail, if you can then learn from that failure and then try again, you'll probably fail again, and then you learn from that second failure, and then you try again, and you learn, and you fail again, and then it's just a process of continuous refinement. I heard a quote when I was super young, and it basically said the master has failed more times than the beginner has even tried, okay? You cannot expect to experience any level of success in any field if you're not willing to fail. It is the cost of entry. You need to fail, okay? And on this, I won't go too deep into this, but you also need to be okay with being seen as a beginner. If you can't be seen as a beginner and you are caught up in these status games of needing to maintain the facade of having it all together and, you know, being ultra successful straight away, you're fucking hindering your own progression. The truth is, no one has it all together. Not even the people at the upper echelons of success. Even they're aiming for something more, which they aren't yet equipped or ready for, okay? So we're all working it out. We're all on the journey of self-mastery and self-development. We're all aiming to achieve the success we want. But a core foundational part of that is your relationship to failure. So, watching this video, I want you to think of a goal that you may have, all right, or a success that you would love to realize. And, you know, and then probably right as you think of that, the failure or potentiality of failure might pop up. Oh, it'll be so hard, it's overwhelming. What if we fail? What if we miss the mark? Good. I just want you to try. Just go out and try at that thing. And if you fail, which you probably will, you'll learn. And then you try again. And then you fail again and try again. And just keep at it. I'm a big believer that the universe or God, call it whatever you will, terminology doesn't really matter. I believe that they grant the individuals the success only when they can see that they are undisturbed by the hiccups along the way. Okay, so think of it like this. Think of it like God's looking down and they say, oh, he wants this success. Okay, well, let's see if he's worthy of it. Let's see if he can keep pushing even when he's getting tested, even when he's in trials and tribulations, even when he's experiencing failure after failure after failure. Can you keep going in those moments? Yes, you can, because you have this frame of mind now, which is every failure is an opportunity to make a micro adjustment, which will get me closer to the path I need to be aligned with to realize the success I want. But you won't be able to do that. You won't be able to stay on the path if you see failure as an end. Failure is not the end. A lot of people think that, oh, you know, it's like black and white thinking. A lot of people are like, oh, I either fail or I succeed. No, it's not like that at all. It's literally like, I don't even believe in failure wholeheartedly. Like in my mind, failure is not even a thing, right? Take, you know, me growing my YouTube, for example. I literally can't fail with this. I just make these videos. It's a part of my daily routine. To be honest, I'm actually detached from the outcome. I just make them. I'm just like, cool. If it grows a channel, that's cool. If it doesn't, I'm just going to keep doing it literally until the day I die. So it's honestly fine by me, but failure isn't even a thing in my mind because I know that I will just keep trying. I would just keep trying. I would just keep trying. And every time I quote unquote fail or miss the mark, I'll make a micro adjustment. I'll get a little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better. I had a conversation the other day with someone who wanted to start talking on camera. And he said, man, he's like, I really admire and love how easily you can talk on camera. And he's like, I wish I had that skill. And I was like, bro, I wasn't born with this skill to be able to talk to the camera like this and, you know, genuinely be articulate with my words. And he's like, oh, no, but like you have that skill, like you're a natural talker. And I said, I wouldn't call it natural. I would call it showing up and failing relentlessly. When I first started making YouTube videos or reels or whatever it may be, bro, I wish you guys could have seen my camera roll on my phone. Literally like 140 takes. I'm not even fucking joking. 140 takes of me literally like this. Pretend this is my phone. Hey guys, Hey guys, fuck's sake. Hey guys, today I'm gonna, like literally just fucking up relentlessly, and eventually you learn to become more articulate with your words and you learn to convey points in a more understandable way for the viewer, but you don't get to that point without fucking up relentlessly. And listen, I'm not the best speaker in the world, right? I'm not the best communicator. Like there are definitely people who are better than me, but I'll tell you this, I'm better than I used to be. And I'm better than I used to be because I genuinely fucked up 1,000 times. Even just then I made a fuck up. Do you hear what I said? I'm better than I used to be. That shit doesn't even make sense, right? This is what I'm saying though. You just keep showing up. You keep making little micro failures and then you learn from them. And then you get better and better and better and better. It's literally the point of it. Don't put these expectations on yourself to jump straight out of the gate as a fucking perfectionist, perfect and absolutely amazing and everything. It's not reality. You are going to mess up. You are going to stumble. You are going to fail. You are going to make so many mistakes, but it's a part of the process. And the people that get the results they want and attain the success they want are those who are willing to fail and also are willing to be seen failing. Like that little, stumbling words I made then, that little sentence that didn't quite make sense. I'm not even going to cut that out because it's a great example of exactly what I'm talking about. You have to be okay with failure. Failure is normal. It's natural. It's a part of the success formula. And if you think in your mind that people are perfect and they never fail and they never fuck up, you are living in a dreamland. People mess up all the time. The most successful people you have ever seen have fucked up more times than you have even thought about trying. Take the gym for an example, right? People who have perfect form in these exercises, there was a time where they didn't know how to do anything. They were fucking up everything. Business as an example, these people who have all these clients and all this work, there was a time when they didn't understand marketing or understand, offer creation or lead generation or client fulfillment or value ladders or any of these things. You need to fail relentlessly. And the quicker you can start failing, the quicker you can start making these little adjustments and then working your way up to success. As I said in the start of this video, my relationship to failure used to be fucking terrible. I used to be like, I don't want to fail. No matter what, I don't want to fail. And more importantly, I don't want to be seen failing because that would shatter the facade that I have, right? Because everyone has a fucking facade. Everyone wants to portray themselves like they are this, ever perfect being who doesn't make any mistakes and who doesn't fail. And then I realized that was my own limitation. That fear of being seen as failing or as trying or as being seen as a beginner, that was the thing preventing me from actually making progress. I say this all the time, pride prevents progression. If you are trying to maintain this facade and wear this mask of perfection, you'll never actually reach any level near mastery. So, change your relationship to failure. Just like I did, I went from a young man who had a very negative relationship to failure, a very avoidant relationship to failure. I need to avoid it at all costs. I need to make sure that I succeed the first time I try. How the fuck do you expect yourself to do that? To be completely honest, like you have no prior experience, no prior skill. Well, why would you even think that's a possibility? To then evolving into a man who is very okay with failure, who is very okay with even failing publicly. Because I know it's just a part of the process and no one's perfect. And people who do seem perfect, it's just a fucking facade. Social media is a highlight reel. Most people aren't posting the journey. Most people aren't posting the, trials and tribulations. Most people aren't posting their mistakes, but everyone is experiencing them, especially if you're striving towards something of worth, okay? And you know what? If someone's not failing, they're not trying to fucking do anything that's outside of their comfort zone. Because anything that's outside of your comfort zone requires you to expand as a person and do things you haven't done before. And just naturally, there is going to be some failures there. So guys, I hope with every fiber of my being that this video has affected you in the most profound way and has genuinely changed your relationship to failure and shifted your entire perspective around it. I hope you go out and start actually seeking failure, knowing that from the failure you will make the micro adjustments and better align yourself with the eventual and inevitable success that you will experience. And I hope you stop allowing the fear of what other people think to hold you back from doing what you want to do. Because all these things are self-imposed prisons and they're just not worth it. They're not worth entertaining. They're not worth feeding into. The worst thing you could ever have is getting to the end of your life and being filled with regret, wishing that you did that thing, wishing that you tried, wishing that you spoke your fucking voice and you didn't hold back and you didn't not do things because you were scared of what other people think. And just be real with yourself for a moment, right? I had a conversation with someone the other day and they were saying, I was like, I'm not going to give you the full rundown, but basically they're starting a business and I said, you should start talking about it online. And they're like, oh no, I don't want to do that. That's not, it's not something I'm into, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, they had this big facade and all these excuses as to why they didn't want to do it. We boiled it down and there's a fear of judgment there, which is normal and natural, right? It's very much so the normal emotion to experience when you first start posting yourself online. But I just said to this individual, I said, you are going to allow that fear to paralyze you and prevent you from taking action. And because of that, you're going to experience a significantly, decreased level of income and impact, and you're going to allow it to hinder you. Do you understand how that's your own self-imposed prison? And then they were like, holy fuck, like, okay, yeah, I get it, man. Like, I was calling these guys out because I was like, man, you need to break free from this self-imposed bullshit. So guys, if you did get value from this video and you are going to implement something like this and improve your relationship to failure, which I would absolutely love, feel free to reach out to me on Insta. I would love to know if this affected you and just genuinely change your perspective towards failure. If it did, I want to know what goals you're going to be attacking and more specifically what failure you're going to be seeking out. Reach out to me on Instagram. Instagram is Ricky Gorsey. If you like the video, give it a like, comment what you think, share it with your friends, and if you want to see more stuff like this, feel free to subscribe. Thank you guys, and I will see you on the next one.